specify that it's for a freelance financial translation position. Financial translation job, I should say, not position. And there you go. As you can see, it concentrates a lot more on my financial background, finance and fiscal policy. I've gained extensive experience in translating financial documents, including annual reports, financial statements, investment analyses, etc. Now you can build off this in many ways. Needless to say, you can then decide to do the same thing for legal translations, or you can tell it that you want it to sound more professional or to concentrate more on this and less on that. And so you can play around with it however you see fit. I'm not going to do too much of that. But let's say you want to simplify this process even more. And let's say there's a job on ProZ.com, you're applying to that job on ProZ.com, and you want ChatGPT to help you with that. So let's do that. So we're going to take this job. This is a job that I posted, and I'm using this one just because I don't have permission to use anyone else's. And I'm just going to copy the job, and then I'm going to write for this job posting. And I'm just going to paste everything here, and let's see what happens. I'm writing a response to your job posting dated 27th October 2018 for the Italian to English translation of quality assurance, etc., etc. And this seems like a pretty decent cover letter or introductory letter. It does seem a bit long, so let's see if we can make it a bit shorter. So here, this is a bit shorter. Now at this point, let me show you a couple other things you can do. If you're not happy with the answer that it gave you, you can try to regenerate an answer just by clicking here. And you still have access to the previous answer by clicking on this. In fact, now that I read through it, I see something else is missing, so let's see if I can include this. And here it adds pricing information as well. Now, some of you at this point might be thinking, okay, this is cheating. This isn't writing a real cover letter, and it shouldn't be done this way. And I mean, you don't have to do it this way if you don't want to. Absolutely not. I just wanted to show you that the option exists. On the other hand, some of you might be thinking, well, great, I'm never going to write a cover letter again. I'm just going to copy and paste everything from the job posting to my resume into ChatGPT and let it handle everything. This is a mistake as well. You should read everything that's written here in the job posting to make sure you're suitable for it. And there's specific reasons why I say this. You might have noticed here, it says, please write Italian to English QA in your subject line. And ChatGPT did not do that. So you do need to pay attention and make sure that ChatGPT followed all the instructions. As I mentioned, it can get some of the facts wrong, even when you fed it the facts just then and there. Now, another thing I noticed here, it says, I'm also open to splitting the project to meet your deadline. That doesn't really mean anything. So you do want to read through it and make sure that it makes sense and that it follows the instructions. And by the way, this does not include my ProZ.com profile. If I'm emailing them, I might want to include a link to that. So think of it more as just a help and a way to simplify the process so you can spend less time writing cover letters and these applications and more time actually performing translations. And that's pretty much it. I think you get the idea more or less as to how it works. A couple other things I would mention is that you can add different types of prompts. Prompts that I've played around with, that I've tried, are things like use a more conversational tone, or use a more persuasive tone, or write a more persuasive cover letter. Or else you can try something like highlight my enthusiasm for the job, or explain why I'm the best fit for the job, or even show how my abilities align with the requirements for the job, something like that. Feel free to mess around with it and see what works best for you. Now, of course, there are other things you can do, like you can decide to just work on sections. You could do something like rewrite the introductory paragraph, or add a call to action at the end, etc., etc. Now, in case you're wondering, yes, you can do all of this with Google Bard or one of the other ones as well. I just stuck solely to ChatGPT because I didn't want to make it too repetitive. If you do use one of the other AI programs, it works pretty much the same way. The results are going to vary, but they'll vary no matter what. So feel free to experiment around as much as you want. In my experience, as long as you choose one and stick to it, then you can just start concentrating on that and get more familiar with that. And you'll get more out of that than trying to experiment with a bunch of different programs. Now, I know some of you are already thinking about this, so I do want to mention you can do it the other way around. What do I mean by this? You can decide to plug a cover letter in and ask it to give you a resume based on that cover letter. And I have tried this. I'm not going to do this for this presentation or anything for various reasons. First of all, it's a lot more messy. A cover letter usually doesn't include all the information you need for a resume. Also, the resume you need all the layout and stuff like that, which you need to work on. So you're not going to save any time no matter what. Feel free to do it. It might come up with different ways of articulating your experience, or it might pinpoint different aspects that you can highlight of your experience, your professional experience, that maybe you didn't think of. So feel free to do that as an experiment just to see what pops up. But I wouldn't rely on that to make a resume because, at least from my experience, it's a mess. So I guess at this point, I have two questions for you. First of all, if this succeeds in freeing up your time in writing cover letters and introductory letters every time you're applying for a job, what will now become your biggest time waster? The thing you're going to spend most time on that you wish you didn't have to? And the second question is, does anything else come to mind that you could use ChatGPT for, or AI for? I'm not saying necessarily there's any intersection between those two questions, but I'm just wondering about both of them. So feel free to let me know. Anyway, hopefully you found this useful, and I hope that at least some of you can use this in order to make your life easier so you can spend more time actually translating than writing up cover letters and introductory letters every time you apply for jobs. Thank you once again, and take care.
Great. That was Robert. Let me bring him in here really quickly. Let's see. There we go.
Hi.
Hi, Robert. Nice to meet you. How's everything going?
Nice to meet you.
Thanks for the... Sorry?
Sorry. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me okay?
Okay.
Great.
Yeah.
All right, thanks for the presentation. We've got some questions. Let's start with this one. Should you disclose your use of AI in this instance?
So yeah, I think disclosing AI can be an issue, but so in particular for the cover letter, I don't think it's that big of an issue because if you're doing a translation or something along those lines, that is when disclosing AI can actually, obviously it is an issue and it's something that's central and we hear about all the time. However, if you're just writing your cover letter, I wouldn't worry about it too much. Because usually people expect a cover letter to sound a bit different and they know that you've put a lot of work into it. Very often a cover letter, you've shown it to friends, you've shown it to other people. So I don't think it's something you need to worry about. And in fact, if you mention that you used AI to create the cover letter, it might sound a bit odd. But so in general, I don't think it's something you need to worry about. This is just in terms of cover letter though. And in terms of this introductory letter, I want to specify that. So I wouldn't worry about that aspect too much for this specifically.
Mm-hmm. Great. And there were a couple of questions and comments kind of along the same lines. And I think you mentioned it in your presentation, but we're not talking about just putting this in to ChatGPT or whatever LLM you use, and then copying pasting. You're controlling the output. You're making sure the output is correct. It's what you want it to be. You're touching things up where it needs touching up, right?
Yes, absolutely, definitely. And like I showed in the example, because ChatGPT doesn't get everything right, it left a couple things out. It didn't, it didn't have the link to my ProZ.com account, which I usually want to include. And also in the one job posting I had, it had a specification, said, please include whatever quote in your subject line or in your introductory sentence or whatever it was, and it didn't do that. So you do have to obviously go over it and make sure it works. And so I would see ChatGPT as a good help, but you definitely need to read through it again and not just assume that you can just send out whatever ChatGPT sends to you.
Great, right. Someone commented, so all agencies are going to receive the same cover letter then?
Well, no, because what you can do, first of all, ChatGPT doesn't always spit out the same thing. And as I showed later on in the presentation, you can specify it to the exact job posting that's there and base it on your resume. So it's actually tailored to the job posting and to your own resume. And then later you can tailor it down more. Like I showed that you can say, tailor it more for financial translation or for this, that, and the other. And so, actually it'll spit out a different cover letter each time.
Right. Do you find in your experience that the results you're getting get a little bit better as you go along?
Yes. And I'm not an expert in this, in AI or in technology in general. So I'm not sure if it's because I get more used to what to expect and what prompts to use, or if it gets more used to my voice as I use it and my commands. I don't know if it learns that much in that sense, but it does get better, and I get more used to using it the more I just play around with it in general.
Right. Someone asked, how much editing do you recommend to make it your voice, to make it sound like you?
So, yeah, I mean, well, this sort of ties into the other question. You definitely want it to sound somewhat like you. But like I mentioned, a cover letter, usually when I receive a cover letter as for my LSP, the cover letter usually does sound a lot more refined and polished. And I sort of expect it to be that way. I know a cover letter is something that they've worked on very carefully and that they'll send to me. If there are any typos or anything in the cover letter, they're out. But then with the correspondence back and forth later on, I'll be a lot more lenient because I know we're going back and forth and it's a bit different. So yeah, you don't want it to sound completely different from you, but I wouldn't worry too much about that. A cover letter should sound good and refined, and it'll be a bit different from how you are colloquially, let's say.
Mm-hmm, right. If you had to put a number to it or a percentage or whatever, what do you estimate your increase in productivity? How much time is this process saving you?
Well, now quite a bit. And so at the beginning, and I've been playing around with this and other like sort of aspects of marketing. At the beginning, it won't save much time at all, if any. And you're just playing around with it, experimenting. And at the beginning, it'll just be trial and error. And yeah, but like I said, the more I use it, the more it gets used to me, or I get used to it. I'm not sure, but it does start saving time. And I find that it even brings up things in the cover letter that I might not have thought of based on the job itself. And so I do find it to be quite helpful. And so I just think it's one of those things that the more you sort of play around with it, the better it is. And you'll start finding that, it gets more and more useful over time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of people have talked about whether they use the output directly or not, using things like this as just inspiration. Maybe.
Yeah.
No, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it's sort of there's sort of three things when it comes to this, or pretty much all of AI, I should say. Some people, yeah, will just take whatever it spits out and send it off. And those people, there is going to have mistakes. It's going to have issues with it. And yeah, so, I really recommend not doing that. Other people want to avoid AI in general altogether because they say, no, I don't need it. I haven't needed it until then and whatnot. But I think it's better to take sort of a middle route and sort of experiment with it, see how it can help you, if it can help you, but always be aware of the fact that you should look over its work, and ultimately you're the final arbiter. You have to judge whether it's something you want to send out representing you or not.
Right. And one last question. Someone asked if you could use this for marketing in general beyond the example that the examples that you gave.
Yes, you can. And I guess it depends what you mean by marketing, but I don't know if it's for something, but you can pretty much use it if you want to use it for copy for a website or even stuff on social media, stuff like that. I think, you should try and see what it comes up with and feel free to play around with it. And yeah, you can absolutely use it. Again, look through what it does, but you can give it certain parameters, and you can even tell it, write a Facebook post, or I don't know, something along those lines, LinkedIn post, something, or even a tagline for ProZ.com within a certain number of characters that represents this resume for so-and-so type of clients. See what happens, and try it a couple times, refine it, and see what it does. And I think it's a good way to experiment and see what it can come up with. And, like I said, don't just do it and leave it there and assume everything will be okay. But I think it's a great way to get some extra input into what you're doing.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. All right. We're about out of time. But thank you very much for being here, for answering the questions, for your presentation. Very, very insightful. A new trick to try for those who haven't tried it yet. So thanks a lot.
Thank you very much for the opportunity, and I hope some of you can find it useful.
So wow, that was Robert, and those were really nice tips on how to make life easier with AI, but also to give our content the personal touch it still needs. Now let's see a short video introduction to one of the presentations we'll have for ITD 2024. So give me 1 second so you will be able to watch it.
Why should you attend this presentation? Because our speaker is human. Get ready for LLM reality check and usefulness for freelancers. It's going to be amazing.
Enough of that. That's too much AI already. In our session, LLM reality check and usefulness for translators, we'll investigate the facts about LLM and dig out the good, the bad, and the ugly. We'll also look at real practical use cases for freelancers. I'm Philip from the YouTube channel Translators Tech Corner, and I'm also WordFast Academic Program Manager, and I will be your host for this session. See you there.
So that was a really short video in where Philip is shown, and on the International Translation Day 2024, Philip will explore the current constraints of LLMs and learn how to harness their power effectively for real-world freelancers' tasks. So don't miss out on this presentation. Register now to the International Translation Day 2024 TV event. If you are from the ProZ.com TV page, you will find a link in the chat box and in the description. And in case you are tuning in from somewhere else, you will find the link to register in the description. So it will be a 3-day event packed with online presentations, live Q&A sessions, workshops, and much more. And I really hope to see all of you there because we are just 1 week away from the International Translation Day, and I'm really excited. So this is all for today. Bye for now, and I hope to see you again really soon.
Hi everyone, I'm Miriam Macri and I come from Italy, from the south of Italy in particular. Well, I work from English and German and also Spanish sometimes into Italian. And I'm a translator, interpreter, and copywriter. Thanks to ProZ, I got a lot of benefits. Networking with colleagues, but also I got also the possibility to do mentoring meetings with young people who are trying now to approach the market. I love the blue board in ProZ because it gives you the possibility to check if the possible leads are suggested or not loyal at all. Well, I think that ProZ also gives you the possibility to do a lot of things. Invoicing, for example, but also finding for new job opportunities and new customers. I got different customers thanks to ProZ, and I'm still collaborating with them. I'm specialized in business, automotive, tourism, and more. Well, I suggest to everyone to join the ProZ network because I think that this is a good opportunity to grow for you both personally and professionally. Even because ProZ gives you a lot of tools that of course can just improve the quality of your translation services, but also not just translation services, but language services in general. So I hope you can join our network and see you soon. Bye.
Hello, my name is Adrian. I'm a German translator from Switzerland, currently working with a beautiful view in Hungary, in the countryside. I am a long-time ProZ member already for many, many years. Especially in the beginning, it really helped me out immensely to get my career going. Nowadays, I don't spend that much time on the platform itself, but I still do benefit from especially 3 benefits massively. Number 1 being paid members get ranked higher in search than non-paying members, which means a lot of people contact me through the website and I can then see if this is actually beneficial for me or not. Number 2 is invoicing. I use their invoicing tool every month. Beginning of the month, I write my invoices with ProZ invoicing tool. It's perfect. I feel like it's tailored towards translators and I use it every month. And number 3 are the training resources. For the membership price that you pay anyways, you also get great resource for training, for especially in the beginning when you don't have that much work yet. You can really spend a lot of time on there and just do all the trainings, all the courses for free, basically included in the price. And also if you're a seasoned professional, there's always something, workshops, webinars, interesting things happening. So these 3 things are the main reason why I really enjoy paying for ProZ membership. And I think it's great for any translator out there, so highly recommend it.
Hi, I'm Romina Escarihuela, an English, Portuguese and Spanish conference interpreter born and based in Buenos Aires, Argentina. I guess I've been a ProZ member for more than 10 years now, and it's a real pleasure for me to be part of this community. And if you are thinking about investing in this platform, I really encourage you to do so. When I started working as an interpreter, I decided to join first because I've got lots of resources with the glossaries and the queries that I could do and the questions that I could submit to the community. At that time, 10 years ago, I was working mostly as a translator, so it was wonderful to get more experience in working with ProZ at the time. And then I hit one of my most important interpreting clients through ProZ back in 2015, I guess. It was a multinational company that was looking for medical interpreters in the language combination of English and Portuguese in Buenos Aires, something that's very hard to find here. And well, I've been working for them ever since, now also remotely, not only in on-site events. And besides getting this wonderful client, I had the chance of meeting other colleagues who were looking, for other translators to build up a team. And those colleagues happened to be here in Buenos Aires as well. So it was a wonderful way of meeting other colleagues and start a new business relationship and getting a larger and larger network every day. So I really encourage you to do so. So, well, thank you very much for listening to my testimonial, and I hope to have encouraged you. And in case of any doubts, you can contact me directly. Cheers!